Gerad, where's your run game compared to where you need it to be? You've had a couple good games and a couple where you're under 50 yards total. So just your thoughts on the run game.
Yeah, it's like anything, stats are stats, and then you got to look at the truth of them all and find out what's up and fix them, right? And then try to sustain what's right. So, right, honest answer, right? We played a formidable opponent that was a good football team and created a lot of havoc up front. As the tape would tell it, obviously a major loss in yardage and rush yardage at the end of the game, so it skews some things. So what happened on the ground really doesn't look as bad as you would think, to be quite honest. Our guys, very, very proud of our front for how they handled movement. It was a big point of emphasis for how we would handle all their movement and stunts as an offensive line and at our tight end position. So to be real honest with you, if you evaluate it fairly, you would say we played very physical, handled a lot of movement. Of course, we want more. Some of that involves us making guys miss. Some of it just missed by this much. Those things are real. We took a step in allowing Garrett Green to be a point of emphasis in finding run yardage too, which was important. So real answer is that's the truth of it. The second piece of then is a full scale outside of the Oklahoma game. You want to see us continue to make steps to where we find a way to run the football better and finish games, i.e. the Virginia Tech game and those things, and finish games with the ball in our hand in a 4-minute setting, and we'll keep on pushing those. But we're taking some steps, and then there's steps you got to take, and that's real. Letty Brown's no secret from last year to this year. We've got to continue to game plan for him to find creases. And then us giving ourselves some air and having the ability to use a two-quarterback system and things helps us, too, to where we don't get into maybe some of the struggles we did last year, if that answers it in full.
You mentioned the O-line. How do you think they held up against that front? That front's probably the best you're going to face this year.
Yeah, and we'll see as we go down the stretch, right? Right. We'll see as we go down the stretch, but they were certainly a very good front. And we did as a staff believe our guys played very physical. And did we have moments, of course, and you're going to in big-time games like that. But for the most part, our guys got some surge that you saw, especially in the first half. Again, we handled movement very well. And so for that matter, we really believe we took a step. Those guys have taken a step the last 2 weeks, and I think that's stuff we're going to see our numbers improve and things get better as we grow week by week.
You mentioned the two-quarterback system. How do you feel the rhythm's going with that now? You guys getting to where you want to be?
Yeah, I think so. It's something, I think I said last week to you all, it's something we've got to, it's kind of a living, breathing thing week by week that we've got to be careful to take the right steps with, but remain consistent and take the right steps with Garrett as we bring him in and not try to take 3 steps instead of 1 more and let it grow the right way. He's a great teammate, so is Daggy, so we know the benefits of us doing that thing and playing back and forth out of it and us being able to manage it as a staff as well.
So with Garrett, we saw a few different wrinkle looks this past week. So as you said, you don't want to throw too much, but is there a lot left sort of out there that you can toy with and
sure there is.
People that haven't seen yet?
Yeah, there is and there has to be. So we'll keep growing it accordingly. Of course, we publicly probably wouldn't say how and what, but yeah, it's got to grow the right way and continue to find ways to put him in space in the run game and throw game.
Is the comfort levels there with Garrett and that what you call is actually what you're going to see? Is it getting closer? There's times where he could be a little unpredictable with what he's doing just because he hasn't played the game as much as some of the other guys.
Yeah, good question. And, well, he's a high-energy guy too, so when you get some emotions involved, spring and fall, because he's fiery, at times you wouldn't know. It'd be a little bit erratic, you would say. So now he's starting to really settle in. It was good to see him settle in and come in early. I think that's a testament to getting him out there early and let him settle. So that's been good. But, yeah, you're starting to develop trust where you say, hey, if this happens on defense, this is what you have to do, and you're starting to feel like that's what he's doing.
This is counterintuitive, but as a coach, you probably would say no. But is there value to having an unpredictable quarterback? If you don't know what he's doing, the other team's certainly not going to know what he's going to do.
Yeah, that's one of those ones that will kind of make you pull your hair out at times. But there is. But at the same time, there's a whole lot more. I would say the trade-off would be there's a whole lot more in having trust in it and knowing what we're going to get.
Neil mentioned the need to develop a number 2 at the running back spot. Where is Tony and Justin and Avarius? Where are they all at with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's like we talked about. The honest answer is we're in the process of finding that. Those guys are going to have to work week by week, day by day, to see who that is and who that can be consistently. So I'd say they're all in that process of doing it. It's the real answer, just finding out who it'll be and who earns the right to be it.
Do you guys start licking your chops as an offense when you see the team you're facing next week give up 70 points, or is it almost a bit dangerous going in knowing that that you're still going to have to work and scheme and do everything right and execute in order to get those points?
Yeah, it's funny because you see the number and turn on the tape, and there's reasons for that one, and there's also reasons why they played at a much higher level and played well in the first 3 games. So we're not in a position as a staff, nor me individually or anything. I don't think I've ever based it off. Getting old, I hate to admit, getting older now has told me, just you can't tie it to results and what you see all the time. You just got to see what the truth is of it and prepare the same way. Like, our guys didn't prepare any tougher or prepare any better, or we didn't work. If anything, we worked harder, right? But we didn't prepare any differently last week than the week before or this week, right? If the process is the truth, the work, the result, right? If that's our process, then we're going to get there, right? And I think we're pushing our kids that way. And as a sidebar, I think it's the right to defend our guys to know, like, that was the first time since my time here that I saw our offensive guys, defensive guys hurt together. I saw us really, really care about each other in a tough time and a tough loss and know that they had a chance to win that football game because they're together. I think that needs to be said, and I think it tells you of what we're growing here. And now we know we got to take another step, so that ends up in celebration instead of a little bit of a heartbreak.
Was there anything on those 2 disasters that happened in the fourth quarter? Was there anything that tied them together, or were they totally separate? And is there anything that, was it just a one-time thing?
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty sure Neil probably addressed what we think of Zach and where it's at. There's real truths to what happened on those 2 plays that I won't discuss publicly. But the fact is, Zach Frazier has really, really helped lead our offensive line. Those are fluke things that happened, and we just got to make sure they don't happen again. And I know our staff's preparing that way, and I know he prepares that way weekly. We love and trust him and our guys, and we're going to grow and make sure this thing continues to go the right direction.
What did you see from Bryce Wheaton last week?
Again, it's funny, like, because nobody goes in like there wasn't. I didn't go over to Whisper and say, "Hey, Monty, Bryce Wheaton's going to have 9 catches today. I feel it." You know what I mean? The real fact is you prepare every week, and the ball found him. We found a good matchup, and he was prepared for it, answered the bell, and that's good prep by him to be ready for it. And that's how we want to prepare our guys. You don't know when that game will be, that moment will be, and we're getting ready for those moments. So next time he'll be 10 for 10.
Last week against Oklahoma, scoring 13 was almost enough to get a win on the road against a top 5 team. But is there a sense for the offense that just the atmosphere and the way Texas Tech usually plays, you're going to need a lot more than that just to win this game?
Yeah, they're all kind of, again, they're all different week by week and how it happens and how it kicks. And again, I'm not avoiding, but I would say that our number one concern is to score one more than them. And then number 2, we're going to try to score every time we get our hands on it, every possession. But approaches and game plans week by week change, of course, based on a lot of things, right, that we all take into consideration from Coach Brown down. So it's just going to be a week by week deal. But number 1, score one more than them.
How do you approach a Keith Patterson defense that hunts turnovers and will give up yards to hunt for those turnovers? That's what they do.
Yeah, it's a tough line, right, to be able to maintain your own patience. Because at its scheme, when it's 3 down, it's drop 8, so it kind of stares at you with 8 pairs of eyes. You want to get impatient at times. We got to remain patient and have that ready, and then it changes gears as you maybe get into down and distance or field position, where then it maybe turns into a little bit more of a street fight. So you kind of got to have a split personality against it, and we've got to maintain our composure while we do it, both player and staff, and that'll be our big cry as we get prepared for this thing going into Saturday.
Jared, can you put your finger on why you guys have been more successful scoring in the first half than the second?
No, but if you do or anybody does, you can holler at me off the side, right? We'll get better in the second half, I promise.
Along those lines, what Greg's saying, Texas Tech has come out slow and scored a ton of points in the second half. It's kind of been a flip deal with them. Does that play in the back of your mind too when you're calling plays and game planning?
You know what? Not really. Just to be honest, I don't think it's anything we put in. You know, it's like it would be the same as us going out Tuesday and screaming and hollering, saying, "Hey, we got to be better in the second half." It goes back to the adage I said earlier this year, like, "Hey, son, please throw strikes." Right? I mean, well, Dad, I haven't been out here trying to, throw balls. So we've got to get better. It's staff's responsibility. It's my responsibility to make sure we do, and especially at the wide receiver position. That's what we'll focus on. If we just keep getting better and take care of the self and get lost in the work of it all, we'll be just fine.
Hey, Jerry, what goes into shot plays? You said you got to be more explosive. I mean, calling was one thing, throwing the ball far, running under it, it's not that simple. Maybe it is, I don't know. But like, what goes into that, to finding it and getting it?
Yeah, it is because if you're throwing 7-on-7, it's so easy, right? No pass rush, sit back there and hitch up twice and throw the football as far as you can. And the reality is shot plays take more time. And so how do you buy more time? Run action, play actions, finding ways to get guys on free runs and matchups. Like, it's a tireless approach to finding them. And then you've got to weigh that percentage of if we can get the time, it's certainly worth it. If you're worried about time or worried about matchups, it's not, because it's not worth a sack or worse, any turnovers. So you got to balance the two. We know as a staff, as Coach Brown said, we've got to find ways to manufacture them, and we'll push that envelope as we move forward and try to get our guys in a position to create explosives that we found a lot in the first 3 games.
Okay, anything else for Coach Parker? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you all.